Welcome everybody to the Accelerating Digital Transformation panel. We have with us an amazing panel, very diverse, from manufacturing side, automotive and semiconductors, and from the software side, the solution side from SAP. I would like to introduce you, and I'm very happy to introduce Markus Bechmann, Global VP Innovation and Business Models for the utilities industry at SAP. Nuttawut, Lertpaiboon, Senior Director of Global Factory Information System at Seagate, and Tomomi Kosaka, President of Honda, President of Engineering at Honda Motor Co. Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us. I would like to start, first of all, with allowing you to present yourselves first, and then we can dive into the very interesting topic ahead. So, Kosaka-san, please.
I'm Tomomi Kosaka. I've been in Honda for 35 years. So, I have an experience in production engineering development and planning production system for 24 years. And production management in United States for 11 years, which includes the joint venture with General Motors about fuel cell manufacturing. So now I'm in charge of head of production engineering supervisory unit that develop production engineering, includes digital technologies. We have around 150 engineers for digital technologies, and also we are making to the die or machine tools as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Markus?
Yeah,
I turn to you.
Everyone. So I'm Markus Bechmann from SAP, and my background is so that I bring together the business side and the technology side for our utilities customers. So I started my career in project management for large SAP installations, so saw how the technical side is working and the installation side. Then I moved into business consulting to work with utilities companies, especially to see what are the business necessities, what are the business strategies, and how can we use digitalization to improve the business performance. And that's exactly in my current role at SAP. I'm the global innovation lead for the utilities industry. So I work on a global scale with our utilities customers to see what are the business trends and how can we provide value to our customers by using our technology. And therefore, I'm glad to be here and also to give you some of the examples that we are currently seeing in the market.
Excellent. And finally, Nuttawut.
So, hi everyone, this is Nuttawut. I am working for Seagate Technologies. So I joined Seagate in 1990s as a system engineer. So I have a very broad ranges of the information technologies, from the infrastructure, architecture, or the security and the operations. And now I kind of focus on the factory information systems, where we support the Seagate manufacturing. So Seagate have a footprint all over the world. We have manufacturing in the United States of America. We have factory in Springtown, Northern Ireland, and then a majority of the factory also in Asia, where I am located, which is Thailand. So I'm now responsible for the global factory information system. I'm glad to be here and to share some of my thought, my experience around the
Excellent.
information technology and the Industry 4.0.
Thank you very much, Nuttawut. So let's dive into the subject. So we are here to discuss digital transformation and how to accelerate it. I think in the context of Industry 4.0, we need to recognize that Industry 4.0 is basically the combination of three areas. One is the physical automation, the other one is operational excellence, and the third one, maybe the heart of it, it's the digital transformation part, the AI part, the software part, that really brings everything together. And I think that whereas the digital transformation has been a challenge for all of us everywhere, and really it is the heart of Industry 4.0, I think that today, after 8 months of COVID-19, and we also, our world has changed even from our last conference in late February. I think the digital transformation has become from a challenge into a must, into something we have to do. It's not a question of if we're willing to step forward or not. And I would like to start with you, Markus, and Nuttawut, and really understand, maybe with you, Markus, first. Much has been spoken about the progress of digital transformation brought by COVID. How do you see that at SAP and your clients when you basically design your solutions?
Yes, I think you put it very well. No? So I think this pandemic situation that we are in is really an accelerator of this digital transformation that has been ongoing for many years already. And I think digital transformation is necessary and can help us also to respond to this extreme situation right now, because we can take care of three major areas that are important here and that we are also seeing as an example here at my customers in the utilities industry. I think first is take care about your customers in the end, because then communication is very critical during an emergency situation. And the lockdown and quarantine orders may reduce the availability, for instance, of the call center staff as well. So what we are doing together with utilities companies is then to provide more self-service scenarios for the end customers, to provide more communication channels and reduce the strain on the call center. So this is really, I think, very important, where you can use the digital media to stay in contact with your customers. And also understand the needs of your customers right now. For instance, you can support the customers to avoid financial hardships. Right now, many customers are really in a very tough budget situation due to this pandemic situation. So we have flexible solutions then also on the commercial side, to have a flexible dunning, for instance, and to change the processes really according to the needs of the customers. I think the second point is really the supply chain and your business partners. So make sure that your business is continuing to work. Here an example would be also what we have here in the utilities industry for the meter reading, where we see that we can provide here more self-service scenario, that not a person needs to go out and do the meter reading, or we can avoid the meter reading at all when we install more and more smart meters. Again, an example where technology can be used to keep the system up and running. And of course, I think one of the most important points is also to ensure that you have an effective and efficient workforce. Due to these quarantine orders and stay-home orders, this might severely impact the availability of your workforce. And so, for instance, when we look at maintenance work for the power grids or the power plants, it's really that we can focus what are really the critical maintenance tasks that need to be done. So really make sure that the workforce that you have available can do what is critical to keep your business up and running. And there we are also using like predictive maintenance and service scenarios to really see what are the critical assets that we have to take care of. So I think these are many examples how this digital transformation really helps to keep the businesses up and running also in these exceptional situations.
Excellent. So I understand from you that resilience lies in remote work and remote capabilities and self-resilience, self-sufficiency. Nuttawut, can you share with us some good example for successful digital transformation at Seagate?
Yeah, first of all, the COVID-19 doesn't change the speed of our digital transformation, but there is one area that changing the speed of the transformation is all about the augmented reality and virtual reality. So now we have to accelerate the plan of implementing the augmented reality and the virtual reality inside Seagate. And then I just want to share some of the good examples of our digital transformations. First of all, in Seagate, we say that every initiative, we need to have a strategy before we invest in anything. Yeah. So digital transformation is not about the technology. In Seagate, we value a lot on the soft side of the business. It can be the people, the mindset, the organization culture, and the processes. And more importantly, the change management. And all of this, we strongly believe that even more important than the technology itself. So once we have the technologies, then the next question that we have to ask is, do we have enough resource and the expertise who can help, and what about the ROI? Okay, so let me give you some of the example about my experience in terms of should we go with the internal or the externals. Okay, I said that digital transformation is something new. It's really hard to get the internal expertise. So with that we need to engage with the external. But at the same time, we need to be clear on what we need and what we want, not just simply follow the external consultants. And many times, external consultants bring us to what they call the best practices. And from time to time, I kind of challenging and asking myself that when the external consultant bring in the best practice, what it really mean to us, whether the best practice is best for us or best for whom. So with that, we have to be very clear, and we have to fully understand what our need. So when it comes to the execution or the implementation, we try to bring the culture of the startup, where we want to be agile, the nimble, okay, and we do a rapid prototypes, we do experimental, and yes, we have to have a flat structure to move things fast in the digital transformation.
Excellent. So these are extremely interesting points. So you say, first of all, focus is on the people and the processes and the strategy that combines all of these. And interesting to know that you have not been as impacted by COVID in terms of the acceleration side of digital transformation, but actually maintained course with what your initiatives beforehand. That's very interesting. Moving to you, Kosaka-san, coming from the production of an automotive in the automotive industry, I believe that the true smart factory can integrate data from system-wide physical operation, human assets to drive manufacturing and maintenance and inventory tracking, digitization of operations through digital twin and other types of activities, as both Markus and Nuttawut refer to. How does Honda envision its smart factory, and what are the core pillars and ingredients as you see them at Honda?
Thank you. Of course, Honda's target is eventually total digitalized operation system, which includes operations, logistics, maintenance, ordering, and others that we mentioned. This system will be able to help us dramatically. However, automobile production line and investment is very huge. Therefore, we are thinking about two steps. First step is a brownfield. Second step is a greenfield. So as for brownfield, which means application for existing lines, we should prioritize order based on the peer or integrates, because we can't apply this system quickly. So I think the way we achieve operation goals is the first step of the smart factory. For example, we are trying to the digital twin for the quality controls. Based on we are measuring to the bodies and to feedback to the digital side and feedback to the actual physical side. So we are trying now. And as for greenfield, means application for new plants. So such kind of the battery electric vehicle for the future, we have to think about the smart factory as a planning side. So as for the key pillar and integrates, I think the pillar we focus on in integration of all information, because we have been struggling with a side mindset between each plant or each division for a long time. And this pillar will make all divisions understand situation by same data. It's very huge benefit. So, and integrates how to find common problems. It's very important for us, and then to make a solution by using a digital technologies. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Excellent, Kosaka-san. I think that you touched on something that we also looked at, and that is the brownfield aspect of Industry 4.0. I think that we just finished and we're going to publish a report about the challenges of Industry 4 in the largest industrial multinationals in the world. And it's interesting to see that brownfield, for some reason, is not getting enough attention from in priorities from different manufacturers. And that's very interesting. And I want to use this and move to another area, which is obviously very, very dominant, but still getting low priority, and that is the cyber risk. So, Nuttawut, I would like you to also react and tell us about, with cyber attacks becoming even more commonplace and their creators increasingly capable, how do you see the cyber risk impacting the involvement of your operations and in the factory?
Yeah, this is really interesting, the questions, as we all know, right? When the company and everyone is moving to the connected world, and everyone now kind of prone to what I call the cyber attack. Okay? And the cyber attack today, it become more complex and sophisticated. So with that, I would say that it's all about the balancing between the business outcome and the protecting the infrastructures. Okay? So without balancing, the organization is really miss the opportunities, right? So today, well, again, even we prone to the cyber attack, but another side of it, we have to continue the business. So with that, it comes to the protections. Okay. So with that, I would suggest that we cannot do what we call perfectly protect the organizations. So when you cannot perfectly protect the organization, with that we have to invest in the detection and the response. Okay, the detection and the response become the key, and it doesn't mean the protection is not important. The protection continue to be a really critical line of defense when we talk about the cyber attacks. And then in Seagate, we strongly believe in people, and the information security strength or weakness is just a matter of the people in organization. In many times, we found that people is the flaw in the ecosystem of the information securities. And another thing is we have to accept that the technology have limitation. Okay? Every day you have new malware, we have discovered new vulnerability, then it's really hard for the technology to catch up. Okay, so with that, the frameworks allow the best practice that adopted by the national institution of standard and the technology. It becomes a good framework or a best practice that we embrace in Seagate. So it's all about identify the threat, protect, detect, respond, and recoveries.
Very good points. I think that's putting the focus on cyber protection is very important, and I think there is some sort of a myopia in terms of priorities of organizations about that. Now, Kosaka-san, I want to move with you and talk about something we've discussed before in our previous talk, and that was the wearable technologies that you implement in Honda. I think that is very interesting. Can you share with us?
Thank you. I think the role of wearable technology depends on what we need to figure a program out. So, for example, the wearable scanning device reduce actual scanning time of logistics. We tried it on site now. Or so AR, MR, or VR device will support reducing time of new model development time instead of checking a 3D models. So it's very useful for us. Or wearable glass may help maintenance operation, especially it's getting more difficult to hire a skilled engineer now. So I think that these three items we are focusing on now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosaka-san. I think that it really goes together with what Nuttawut discussed about the importance of the human factor here and how the two integrates into the factory of the future, into digital operations. And I want to turn back to you, Markus, and then discuss the main challenges of adopting Industry 4 as you see it with your customers and with the solutions that you plan?
Yeah, I think it's really the main challenge, bringing the business side and the technology side together. Like Nuttawut also said, like they do it at Seagate, at the beginning, you always need a business case for an innovation, because technology is a large playground and you can do many fancy things. But in the end, you must know where you want to go and what the technology will bring in terms of value. And it's also important to see that you have some quick wins on the way, because every investment needs to be justified, especially in times like that now. And so having some quick wins always helps. And I think then the second side is the technology side, where we see the main challenges already coming with managing all the data now. Yeah? We see more and more devices in the field. So this is really an avalanche of data coming to the companies. So ingesting the data, cleansing the data, making it available as a single source of truth, I think this is a very big challenge, because for historic reasons, most of the companies have many systems, so where the data is split. And so having one solid database and one database that can be cleansed and can be the basis for all the follow-up processes and applications, I think this is a very big challenge, and we at SAP, we are answering to that, so that we are providing what we call the digital core. So it's really the nucleus where you have this, the single source of truth of your data available, and then via flexible cloud infrastructures and cloud communication, then you can have satellites around this digital core where you can put your applications and your innovations so that you are flexible and have a solid basis on the same time.
Excellent. So I fully agree on many of the points. And I think in particular, the cleansing part, which people don't recognize, is probably 70% of AI, the ability to move forward and do AI analysis and prediction. It's all around understanding the data. There's so much data in industry that it's a very important challenge. Nuttawut, can you add on challenges from your perspective at Seagate?
Okay. So first of all, like Markus says, I mean, we need to know where do we want to go or where do we want to be. And for me, I would like to use the word this as the imagination. So you need to imagination when you talk about some of the new things, right? It's all about the futuristics. It's really hard for us to predict or to tell how the future look like. So with that, you need a lot of imagination to tell where you want to go in the future. And apart from the imaginations, the challenges that we are facing right now in Seagate, first it's all about the unified leadership, right? The people who can drive the result across the silo of functional. Okay, doesn't matter how you structure, you may need some form of the silo in the organizations. To drive the Industry 4.0 or the digital transformation, you really need a unified leadership who can drive the results. And the second part that Markus have mentioned, that we talk about the data ownership, we talk about the difficulty of the integrating the data from various sources to enable the initial connectivities. And the classical one gonna be, we have in Seagate manufacturing, we still have a lot of legacy machines that may have that capability to integrate easily. Okay. And also when talk about new things, right? For sure that the talents, the in-house talent, it become a challenging part where we need a lot of new knowledge, new tool, new technique, right? The AI, machine learning, and many of the new languages that we use to developing the Industry 4.0 solutions. Yes. And then the last one going to be the lack of knowledge about the technologies. And also we don't have a good understanding of the external vendor, the capability of the IC outsourcing and the partner. And that become a main challenge for Seagate.
Excellent. Excellent points. I fully agree with you. And you know, I want to take us maybe this discussion of challenges into a topic that is easily I think, forgotten. But I think pandemic is not only pushed forward a lot of the digital part and challenges and transformation, but also a lot of progress have been made with being able to rely and use 3D printers and additive manufacturing to solve many of the problems we all experienced in the last few months. And Kosaka-san, we've talked about how you implement it. I'll be happy if you can share with us your side of the use of additive manufacturing to basically broaden the range of applications within the manufacturing line of an automotive company.
Thank you. So, of course, we are exploring areas we will apply for our productions. So, in my view, we have 3 areas. So, one is customization, second is the spare parts, and 3 is the machine tools and die is a role of additive manufacturing. So, first one is as far as the customizations. In the future, maybe people buy the vehicle by internet more, and they like the customization with affordable prices. So I think the affordable customization method, additive machining is the one with very attractive method. So of course, we are trying to for example, the film printing or the parts or other area. And second one, as far as spare parts, we store a lot of die which we discontinue. So we will be able to save the space or management cost by using 3D printers. And the last one, as I mentioned, we are making to the machine tools or die. This production volume is not so high. So we are applying to the 3D printer for the die manufacturing, for the insert, for the other machine tools. So that's all I have for some application for additive machining. So
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kosaka-san. I think you touched you hit the nail right on the head. I think that in a country where we have about 40 startups dealing with additive manufacturing, and small as we are very good in this kind of technology. I think that it really is going to push forward in many areas. Our ability to rely on 3D printing, our ability to also use it not only for engineering, but for spare parts and maintenance, all applications that we had to use during the pandemic. I want to end up with you, Markus and Nuttawut, and ask you, how would you recommend startups in our audience to partner with large multinationals like SAP, like Seagate, because that's probably a core question for them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think partners are very important for us at SAP, and we are also and always looking for new startups that can cover white spaces around the digital core that we are providing. And we have also a special organization for that, SAP.io. And just recently we launched what we call the SAP.io cohort for the utilities industry. So we had a global screening process and had more than 100 applications from startups all over the world, and selected now 7 of them. And during 3 months now in the program, we will look at the integration of their solution to the SAP solutions, so that we can offer an end-to-end solution to the customers, and also to the go-to-market side, how they can come into our app center, for instance, that we can have a joint commercialization of the solutions as well. So my recommendation would be just reach out to the nearest SAP.io office, and there we have great colleagues that can help you to see if there is a special program, and if there is not, we also have general programs that are always open.
Excellent. And finally, you, Nuttawut?
My recommendation to the startup is, first of all, the enterprise not interested in the technology for the sake of having the technologies, but it's all about the sense of purpose. Okay, that the technology do something new that will help the business. That the technology will make us more productive, save us money, allow us to replace more expensive stuff. Okay, so with that, for the startup to approach the multinational, first of all, you need to understand the enterprise needs or the sense of purpose, and then you need to establish the relationship with the leadership, with the decision makers, and then you need to use what I call the strength of the startup is developing rapid prototypes. Okay, and then the solution, the prototype that you develop that have to be aligned with the enterprise infrastructure and architecture. This is something is the key. It's really hard for you to bring something which is different and not aligned with the enterprise infrastructure and the architectures. And last but not least, you have to deliver beyond the expectations. That's what my recommendation to the startup.
Excellent. I fully agree with the under promise over deliver part, and I think that really I want to thank you for a wonderful panel, all of you. I think we really touched on the key issues of digital transformation, mainly as Nuttawut said, the people and the processes, and then as Kosaka-san and Markus mentioned, the different technologies and the data part of it. I think they are all very important topics and challenges, and I want to thank you very much.